Scotland's good at making a big noise in the Big Apple at least once a year. The annual Tartan Day parade brings a touch of Caledonian colour to 6th Avenue. But if there was a yes vote in the referendum, Scotland would need to make itself heard in New York all year round as a member of the United Nations. So how would an independent Scotland secure its own voice and its own vote here?
Scotland would be very welcome at the UN, which is highly in favour of self-determination and a new people expressing itself. If it's organised, if it's consensual, I wouldn't see any trouble in any of that, but it's a process that has to be gone through.
The UK government has said that it would back a Scottish application for UN membership. That should help smooth its way to a vote here in the General Assembly, where at least 2/3 of countries would need to support it. With the approval of other countries, Scotland would become the world's 194th state, taking its seat in the UN General Assembly next to Saudi Arabia and its nearest neighbour, over here, Senegal. So that's where Scotland would slot in alphabetically, but how would it establish itself diplomatically?
Well, it would need to form alliances and partnerships. Even the UK can't do without those. And the impact that the UK has would be lost to Scotland, but Scotland would be speaking with the voice of Scotland. It would have the Scottish label, but it would have to establish the impact through the performance of its individuals at the high representative level. That's very important.
So small countries need big hitters. And the man who represents Europe's newest UN member warns against trying to get involved in everything.
No, that is something what we as a small, we must recognize realities and to be realistical and to have in mind always our national priorities, our strategic goals, and to select.
Any country can choose to apply for a stint on the UN's most powerful decision-making body. Here in the Security Council, the United Kingdom is one of only 5 countries with a permanent presence. Powerful countries with a veto over the decisions on war and peace that are made here. In the event of Scottish independence, the UK government says it would continue to occupy its seat here. But if that is legally accurate, would it also be politically acceptable to other countries? That may depend on David Cameron keeping Britain's nuclear submarine fleet in the event of Scottish independence. Without nuclear weapons, MPs on the Foreign Affairs Committee say the UK's place in the international order would be questioned. Otherwise, this seasoned observer thinks what's left of the UK would keep its clout.
One can see an argument that someone would say that Britain has changed, but in the case of the Soviet Union and Russia, Russia obviously became a much smaller entity than the Soviet Union had been. So it maintained that permanent Security Council seat. So I think the precedent, is there, it's set, so that as long as you are the official holder of that seat, it's yours, no matter what your size is.
Of course, this will only be tested if there's a vote for independence. In those circumstances, South Sudan would no longer be the world's newest country. Instead, Scotland would have that distinction, plus the chance and challenge of making its own way in the world.